Today on Investigate TV Plus, an innocent passenger removed from a plane and his bag searched.
He actually said, "I am the government."
Yeah, he says, "I am the government," and he was very assertive about it.
Our investigation uncovers how some federal agents make it feel nearly impossible for you to say no.
The airport is not a Constitution-free zone.
Plus, we take an in-depth look at your rights at the airport.
Then, on his own terms.
Because I'm on a crusade.
A Vermont author dying of cancer writes his final chapter.
I'm living the results of what I want everyone to have.
Why he felt compelled to share his end-of-life decision.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. At airports across the country, plainclothes drug agents stop airline passengers just trying to make their flight and search their bags. Our investigation found in the vast majority of these cases, the passengers were not arrested or charged with any crime. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. According to court records we obtained, the DEA and federal prosecutors described these searches as cold consent encounters. Our investigation uncovered multiple videos recorded by passengers of these encounters, showing their consent was compelled by agents who told them they would otherwise miss their flight or face a drug screening dog and a long wait for a search warrant.
Investigative reporter Brendan Keefe goes in depth with one passenger who refused consent but had his bag detained anyway. And we're only using the passenger's first name and concealing his face because his company does business with the government.
Set your bag down and then you can walk on the plane. You can do that, but
no,
you can't
I'm not. You're not with the, what do you call it? I've seen these like videos on YouTube before. You're not with the.
I'm the DEA. I'm the government.
And the first distinct thing I remember was pulling my phone and saying, "I am the government."
He actually said, "I am the government."
Yeah, he says, "I am the government," and he was very assertive about it.
I'm the government.
This is Officer Nick Nimskern with the Montgomery, Ohio Police Department working the Cincinnati airport as part of a plainclothes DEA task force, stopping David, a New York-bound passenger, after he and his bag had already cleared TSA screening.
Jeez Louise, why are you so angry?
I'm not angry. I just want my rights to be respected. That's all.
Well, I just told you can walk on, but you can set your bag down, and we'll just have a dog.
Or else you're gonna. Am I being detained right now?
Not you, but your bag.
Am I free to go?
Not your bag. I
Okay.
told you like
I'm gonna
20
walk
times.
then.
You can't do that.
Am I being detained?
Robert,
Then am I free to go?
Was your heart pounding? Were you nervous? Were you confident in your position?
Oh, I was unbelievably nervous. In fact, the first thing I did was on the plane was go back to my phone and just see, is this really happening? And did I remember this correctly?
You mentioned seeing a YouTube video. That was our investigation you saw, right?
Yeah, that was your investigation.
We tracked plainclothes drug agents through the Atlanta airport, watching and recording them searching passengers at boarding gates looking for cash to seize. In court filings, the government called these cold consent encounters.
How many innocent people do you have to search before you find what you're looking for?
Sir, I've got nothing to say to you.
Yeah, I distinctly remembered a couple of pieces that stood out. I think one of them was asking the question, "Am I free to go?" The second thing that I really remember is that I was free to walk away if so.
We do have a completely full flight this afternoon.
Once on board, David checked our story again on his phone.
I actually saw the Investigate TV news article pop up too. And I remember thinking, well, at least I did this right. You have the right to walk away if they're not detaining you.
Agent Nimskern followed him on the plane and mistakenly grabbed another passenger's bag.
Oh, that's my. Hey.
That's yours. Where's your bag at?
I don't consent to search, sir.
You don't have to consent. Where's your backpack at? Where is it? Under your seat?
It got put away, but I don't consent to being searched.
I don't care what your consent stuff. You want to watch the dog?
Yes,
you want
please.
To sit in your seat?
I would like to watch the
Then
dog.
come out.
It was definitely embarrassing, humiliating. I'm sure everybody's wondering, is this guy a terrorist? Is he bringing bombs on board?
I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just don't like being searched.
You're not trying to be a jerk.
No, I don't
You
know who you are.
Since I've ever met out here, honestly.
That's fair, dude.
The airport is not a Constitution-free zone. You retain your Fourth Amendment rights when you're in the airport.
Kirby Thomas West is an attorney with the D.C.-based Institute for Justice, now representing David.
Any of us, and even a constitutional lawyer knowing all my rights, there's no guarantees that you're going to be safe from this kind of search or seizure.
One thing he said is, "I don't need your consent." Is that true?
The only way that law enforcement can conduct a search without your consent is if there's probable cause of a crime.
Am I under suspicion of a crime right now? You have probable cause?
So we have a lot of money and drugs going out of every airport to New York.
Okay.
It's an influx of it.
Am I being suspected of a crime? I just want this to be reported.
I don't know.
Do you have reasonable suspicion? Do you have probable cause? And he says, I don't know.
Do you have probable cause for a search?
I have probable cause for a dog to walk up and smell your bag, yes.
The canine at first walks right by David's bag without stopping. Then,
I saw him gesture back to my bag, and I remember him just doing something with his fingers. Upon looking at the video again, you can hear him making that kissy sound.
You see that? You got it recorded. Don't edit that part out of the video either. So he sat on your bag.
Okay.
Is there money, drugs, or weapons in your bag? You did all this for what? This is what we do. Let me tell you, we've been doing this for a long time. Years and years and years. Longer than probably you've been alive.
I respect you, sir.
We're within our rights, or I wouldn't do what I did.
Is my flight going to be...
Hey, that's your plane.
All right. I just did some research on this when I was on the plane, but...
Well, Google's great. I'm telling you, if I were you, I'd call your lawyer and see what he wants you to do. I know you're annoyed, and I'm annoyed too that you caused such a scene for something so silly.
I don't think standing up for your rights is silly.
You actually disobeyed me, disrespected me.
And also, it's weird that he puts this whole scene on me.
We wouldn't do this and be doing it across the country if it wasn't legal.
We wouldn't be doing this all over the country if it wasn't legal.
Well, first, this isn't legal, and second, that they do this all over the country, but it was extremely validating to hear it from the horse's mouth.
You walked off the plane. Fact check, bro.
Basically, do you want a receipt for the bag?
You want a receipt for the bag?
All right, you guys have consent to search it.
Before he searches my bag, the officer says, I'm sure that there's nothing in your bag anyways.
I'm sure there's nothing in here at this point.
At the end of the day, there was nothing illegal in your bag at all.
No, he searched my bag very thoroughly, and nothing was found.
This is just going to prove that your dog has been trained by you guys to signal whenever you need to signal.
Maybe smelling something residual from something else. I don't know. I'm not a dog. Are you a dog?
Was there ever an apology? Did they say we're sorry? How did they end the encounter?
They laughed at me.
They laughed at you?
Yeah, they laughed at me. I asked him, so what do I do with my flight? And he said, that's your own problem now.
David bought a last-minute ticket from Cincinnati to New York City, where he lives, and that put him on a special list cultivated by the DEA task force. The DEA has refused comment. In fact, they've refused comment now for over a year. First, they said no, then they just stopped responding to us altogether. Also, where Agent Nimskern is assigned, the Montgomery, Ohio Police Department, the Montgomery Police Chief also refused comment.
Okay, Brandon, once again, what should you do if you're ever in a situation like this?
Attorneys tell us those magic words are, am I free to go? Am I being detained? Police and federal agents need your consent, probable cause, or a warrant to search your bags for evidence of criminal activity.
Well, if there's ever a story that might get your blood to boil a little bit, that might be it.
It is infuriating. I'm just so happy that we're telling people what they can do if that ever happens to them.
And just how fortunate he was that he saw our stories on this show and was able to, say the right things in there and eventually get out there, but missed his flight.
Yeah, and that's the sad part too.
It is.
And you can find more on Brendan's in-depth reporting on civil asset forfeiture on our website, InvestigateTV.com. Just type in plain sight in the search bar.
Still to come, a prescription to ease the nursing shortage.
We're the next generation up.
How an innovative summer camp encourages teens to explore a career in healthcare.
But first, living and dying on his own terms.
I'm happy that I've had this wonderful life.
A Vermont man with terminal cancer used his final days to raise awareness and share his reasons to legally end his life.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms. Bill Mayers was described by friends as a polymath. Among the long list of ventures on his resume, author, teacher, photographer, beer maker, and beekeeper. Bill was also a former Vermont state lawmaker who supported death with dignity legislation, which allows adults to make the decision to legally end their lives. He remained a dedicated advocate until his own death.
In July of 2023, Bill was diagnosed with a terminal form of cancer. As his health declined and he entered hospice, Bill chose to utilize the Vermont law to end his own life. Vermont is one of 10 states, along with the District of Columbia, where medical aid in dying is legal. To be eligible, the law says a person must be 18 or older, terminally ill with a prognosis of less than 6 months to live, mentally capable of making healthcare decisions, and be able to self-ingest medication. In the days before his planned death, Bill wanted to share his story.
He reached out to reporter Darren Perrin to discuss his experience with dying.
Except for getting married, this is the happiest time of my life.
Bill Mayer's resume can't fit on one page. Marine.
Because I was the first, number one in the platoon.
Journalist.
And then I took home 8,000 negatives.
Beekeeper.
Hug your local beekeeper.
Beer maker. Lawmaker.
And then I served 6 years.
Singer.
Oh, we'll always stay in Vermont. Hey up, hey up.
Teacher.
So I could always maintain this professional curiosity.
And best-selling author.
It led to the next book and the next book.
Now the Burlington man is ready for the final chapter of his life.
Oh, it's a lymphoma.
The 83-year-old got the terminal diagnosis in early July. But he's not letting the cancer kill him.
And God bless the people of Vermont who have given us all the right to make this choice.
He'll do that himself, legally, under the state's so-called death with dignity law.
It's time to choose, and I got to choose, and this is the way I've chosen.
All right.
Up until his death, he'll get hospice help.
I shaved for you before.
Personal care and company.
How'd your face feel?
Fine, clean.
Mayors will take a lethal dose of medication at home under Act 39. The law allows people with less than 6 months to live to end their lives with doctor's approval after being deemed mentally competent to make the decision. So far, 208 Vermonters have died this way since the law was created just over 10 years ago, and 26 out-of-staters have. The law was amended last year to allow non-residents to travel here to use the aid in dying law.
The public policy should be giving this person who has their marbles the right to decide when to leave the planet.
It's very interesting to be sitting across from someone, interviewing someone whom I know will be gone as of just a few days.
So I don't know what kind of metaphor you want, but no, I leave in complete gratitude for the chance to run my mouth in these last days and to have a row of books up there and have a wonderful family.
Part of the decision-making was done with his wife of 53 years.
And she kissed me and said, fine, it's your decision. And I understand, and no elaboration. She just said, yeah, I understand. And I love you. And the kids were the same way.
Because he really didn't want to end up in the hospital, really didn't want to end up with a lot of tubes and lingering.
The family's pragmatic approach doesn't hide, though, the hole Mayers' death leaves at home.
It's going to be bad to not have anybody in the house. If I come in the door, there's the dog, and there's Bill. So, but I'll manage.
Mayers will be cremated, his ashes spread near their Northeast Kingdom camp. This was the only time he got emotional during our conversation.
And they sprinkled my ashes where we got married on this hill in St. Johnsbury.
And the church-going Episcopalian believes there's everlasting reward after death. But before he goes, and despite his years of hard work, Mayers has one more job to do.
Because I'm on a crusade.
Sharing his story in hopes that he can get a national death with dignity law introduced in Congress. He talked with Senator Peter Welch about it, and so did we just hours later.
And there are significant safeguards in place. So I support what we did in Vermont, and I'd advocate for it in Washington. But I do think that the state-by-state approach is what is going to be essential before you'd get a national piece of legislation.
Welch says the U.S. isn't ready for a national law, nor is it fair, he says, because, like Vermont did, it needs to be debated locally.
I'm living the results of what I want everyone to have, which is the right to decide.
3 days after our interview, Bill Mayers took a lethal prescription powder mixed in his favorite beer. He ended his own life with his family by his side. His wife tells me it was peaceful and perfect, just the way Mayers wanted. In Burlington, Vermont, I'm Darren Perrin.
Opponents, including religious groups, disability rights advocates, and some doctors, argue end-of-life laws put pressure on vulnerable people, and proper palliative care can ease suffering of those who are dying.
The American Medical Association argues physician-assisted suicide is fundamentally incompatible with the physician's role as healer. But according to the end-of-life advocacy group Death with Dignity, at any point right up to receiving the lethal medication, a patient can change their mind.
They add about 30% of people who fill their prescription never take the drug. Up next, a plan to revive a critical shortage of nurses.
We need you in it, and we need you to stay in it.
How a camp takes a real-world approach to developing the next generation of medical professionals.
Then later, we take you to a class helping the old and young find their flow.
Can you juggle and do the interview?
Okay, sure. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. Remember going to camp? For many teens, it gives them the opportunity to try something new, like archery or canoeing.
Yeah, but instead of a paddle or bow and arrow, nursing camp gives teenagers a stethoscope and hands-on experience at learning how to save lives. Reporter Brendan Tierney shows us how camp may help remedy America's nursing shortage.
That's cool. Kumaya Batts is getting her first taste of nursing.
It feels like rubber.
Using dummies at Tennessee State University to learn CPR and how to use an AED.
Turn them this way.
The simulation allowed the group of around 30 middle school students to get practice on both babies and adults.
I gotta save this patient's life.
Learning how to do chest compressions at the right pace.
30. Give 2 breaths.
And why rescue breathing is so important.
So you can do CPR.
With professors showing them what it takes to become CPR certified.
We all have to work together.
Yes, ma'am. You have a question?
Dr. Courtney Nyange helps students learn more about nursing.
We need you in it, and we need you to stay in it.
Yes, children!
She gave them a tour of the labs and talked about what it takes physically and mentally, so they could be exposed early to what's included in nursing school.
As soon as possible so that they can make a good decision on whether or not this is something they need to do.
This is hard.
Madison Lundy thinks she wants to be a NICU doctor.
We're the next generation up.
The free camp is hoping people like Madison fall in love with the medical field from hands-on experience.
Claire.
Shock delivered.
Learning skills that could one day save a life.
I know how to do it and I could help in the situation that it happens, but hopefully that situation never comes to be.
Medical experts say to solve the current nursing staff shortage, it's important to start recruiting students early. According to the World Health Organization, to close the current nurse gap by 2030, the United States will need to increase the number of nurses by 8% each year. You can read more of our in-depth coverage about how different approaches are helping renew the nursing field. Just head to InvestigateTV.com and type nurse burnout in the search bar.
Up next, a chance to let creativity flow.
It's really fun to do with friends.
How the old and young have been inspired to embrace and express themselves through a unique form of art. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
A group of kids and adults in Alaska found inspiration to get moving in a unique circus-inspired activity.
It's called flow art, and it integrates juggling, dance, and props to achieve a state of awareness called flow.
Reporter Dave Allgood puts his spin on this art form.
What's going on at Delaney Park on a sunny summer Saturday? This group was swinging things around.
For the advanced move, that would be pull up your pants and put a hat on.
Smooth directions even I can understand.
Or we also have our swaying arms.
And I wasn't the only intrigued one.
You're kind of curious, what's going on down here? What's this called?
It's called poi. It's considered a martial art in New Zealand.
So there's more to it than just swinging balls on strings.
P-O-I, poi. Which and she explained, was a precursor and training for fire spinning.
Ooh, hot. The big leagues.
I thought it was just some sort of form of yoga.
No, Tim, my little tie-dyed friend. It's called...
And the spinning arts, we added that on about 8 years ago.
For obvious reasons. So who added it?
We are from the Oriental Healing Arts Center in Spenard.
Ah, so what exactly are they learning?
It's really great for spatial awareness.
Okay, I got you. Training the brain, but all this just looks...
It's just fun.
Oops, what a tango web we weave. It's harder than it looks. They also do this.
Improves your reflexes.
Juggling is way fun.
So, Leanne, can I learn to juggle?
Yeah, kids, adults, this is great for everybody.
Regular cascade, columns.
Harmony makes juggling seem so easy. And advice from these two young masters.
It's not that hard.
Juggling's kind of like satisfying.
You just don't look at the balls.
Show-offs. The spinning arts.
It's really fun to do with friends.
It's fun, but it's also kind of hard.
So if you're looking to slow down that hustle and bustle, maybe this is just what you need.
Improves your reflexes and helps in life.
And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching. On the next Investigate TV Plus.
Every time I come here, I just want to cry, bust down and cry because he gone.
A family is left to mourn more than their beloved uncle after they say someone stole his home.